speaking of coaches, Penn State still doesn't have one. How about that? We have gone through the entire hiring process pretty much. All of the top programs, including some of the mid-tier Power Fours like an Oklahoma State. Even those teams have head coaches. Pat Kraft still has no idea what he's doing. Now, to be fair, maybe he's already hired his guy, Kalani Sitake, and we're just waiting for the dust to settle on the college football playoff and how he does in the Big 12 championship game next week, or this week, I guess. That's the buzz. Kalani Sitake. That's the name that I've heard floated. I mean, and to be fair, like I don't want to say I've been wrong about this. I said the source I got, was pretty certain on Drinkwitz. It turned out to be incorrect. Drinkwitz is denying he even interviewed at Penn State. I don't know if I buy that. But it does seem like Pat Kraft kind of kept shooting for the stars, and he kept getting denied. It kind of reminds me of the guy who puts his parlay in, and it's like 3-leg parlay, and he's like, I need this, this, and this to happen. And he gets to the last leg, and he's hoping, and he's praying, and then it ends up losing. Because I do think Pat Kraft definitely put some feelers out for some of the bigger names. But I just think it's really tough to get guys to come to Penn State and State College. I think it's a tough ask. And I just don't think there's a lot of appetite to come in and fix whatever ails the Nittany Lions right now. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's status. I don't know. But Pat Kraft struck out. Like, there are no big names left. You're not getting Kalen DeBoer. You're not getting Eli Drinkwitz. I don't know who else is left. I've heard Sitake. I've heard Josh Heupel. Those are the two names. Chesney, the JMU coach, looks like he's going to go to UCLA. I've heard that name floated. But at this stage where all of the other programs, this is musical chairs, all of the other programs have staked their claim on their next head coach. And I think Pat Kraft has just completely bumbled this entire process. I think he's the problem. Even you had players tweet. I saw Tony Rojas tweeting on Sunday, when is Penn State going to announce their head coach? I think we're all wondering that, Tony. Just a bizarre situation in Happy Valley. It's going to turn out where Penn State, in the hindsight's always 2020, but I think James Franklin is a better coach than any of the guys they're going to bring in now. I don't see them upgrading from James Franklin. And I think Pat Kraft bit off a little more than he could chew. We did have some firings on Sunday. Again, this college football coaching carousel is absolutely berserk. I have never experienced anything like it. Kentucky fired Mark Stoops. Michigan State fired Jonathan Smith. It looks like Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern is going to slide right into the Sparty opening. Love that hire. But what these two firings did is it bumped the total buyout money in college football this year to well north of $200 million. Again, we are exceeding the GDP of small countries with the head coach buyout money. It's insane. I don't know exactly how much the Stoops buyout was, but Jonathan Smith was in the vicinity of 30 mil. We were in the 180, 190 mil category even before that. We're pushing 250 now. We're pushing $250 million in college football head coach buyout money. Wrap your head around that in the year of our Lord 2025. But Penn State still has no head coach. How about that? We did Rise and Wine a little early today. That's my Rise and Wine, is just the ridiculousness that is the college football coaching carousel. We had to lead with it.